So Teen Witch came out in 1989. It didn't do too well in the movie theaters, but shortly after it went to cable TV, and they showed it on cable television over and over and over again, and I think that's probably where most of us first learned about Teen Witch. So I was probably around 11 years old the first time I saw Teen Witch, and I knew it was kind of a strange movie, but there was something that kept drawing me to it, and I think one song in particular kept drawing me to it, and so much so that I had recorded that song off of TV, put it on one of my mini mixtapes, and would listen to it while I was outside skateboarding or doing whatever. And I know you all know what song I'm talking about, and don't worry because we're going to be talking about it more in this video a little bit later. But as I got older, I started to find out that a lot of people my age were not only obsessed with the movie Teen Witch, but they were obsessed with that song in particular that I'm talking about. And that's when I started to realize that Teen Witch had become a total cult classic. So today we're going to check out filming locations for the 1989 cult classic, Teen Witch. Let's go see what we can find. Now the movie starts with Louise and Brad dancing on top of a building that has a great view of a city skyline. Now, I tried really hard to locate that building with the giant neon clock that they're dancing on top of, but unfortunately I just couldn't do it. However, I was able to locate that city skyline that we see in the background. And this is it right here in downtown Los Angeles. Now that building on the left side, that can be seen very clearly in the movie. And in the background behind it, off in the distance, there's a building that says Wilshire on top. That building can also be seen. Now a little bit more center, that building with the triangles on top, that can also be seen very well in the movie. But however, today it's a little bit harder to see because of this brand new building that's blocking about half of it. Now this building all the way on the right side, that's the Wed Bush building, and it can just barely be seen peeking into the shot. Okay, so this gives you a little bit better view of that building with the triangles on top. Now based on this shot, it would be my opinion that the building they're dancing on top of was either across the street where this newer building is, or over here where one of these newer buildings is. But more than likely, based on the angle that we see in the movie, it would have been over in this area. But honestly, the more and more that I watch that scene, it's my opinion that they're dancing on a set in a soundstage, and that shot of the Los Angeles skyline is actually just a giant backdrop. Now after Louise wakes up from that dream, she comes downstairs and leaves to go to school, and that's the first time we see her house. And here it is, and as you can see, it looks pretty much exactly like it did in the movie, except for the shutters not being bright blue anymore, and now it has a gate in front of the house. But other than that, this is Louise's house, and this is pretty much the shot we get when she's getting her bike ready and she's staring across the street at Brad picking up Randa. A little bit later in the movie, we see Louise come walking out the front door right there, come walking down those steps, and that's when we see Brad and Randa come pulling into this driveway, and they ask Louise if she wants to ride to school with them. And that's the beginning of Louise becoming the most popular girl. And of course, right across the street from Louise's house is Randa's house. Right there in front is where we see Brad pull up in his Mustang 5.0. Now this is more the shot we get. We don't see too much of the house, but we do see these front steps, and they are exactly the same. They even still have the address on the top step right there. Now like I said, we don't see much of her house in the movie, but that front entryway looks exactly the same. With that rounded door with those two lights on either side, and then those two windows on either side with the bars over them, exactly the same. Right here in front of the school is where we see a bunch of kids hanging out, skateboarding, and riding BMX bikes. And there's a bunch of kids hanging out right in front of this Herbert Hoover High School sign. You can almost make out the name of the school, but most of it's covered up by the kids that are standing there. Out here on this field is where we see Brad having football practice, and Louise is hiding in one of these tunnels over here, watching Brad work out. A tunnel just like this one. Louise would have been standing right here as one of the football players walks by her and heads down the tunnel right here. Right over here is the swimming pool where we see Randa push Kiki into the water. Now they're having swim practice right now, but I'm gonna see if I can get a quick shot of the pool. And there it is, that's the spot. Now they added some fences in the archways, but right in front of those archways, that's where they would have been standing. And you can see this gate over here when they're walking into the pool area. The wall around it was painted purple at the time. Inside this school auditorium is where Louise and Brad rehearse for the school play. Now, unfortunately, the auditorium's locked up as tight as a drum, but I was able to find a couple of pictures online just to confirm that this is the right auditorium. A little bit later in the movie, during the most popular girl scene, we see Louise come strutting down this hallway, and a few moments later a bunch of students join her. Now, it looked a little bit different in the movie. There were no gates at the time, and there appeared to be more posts. So I'm assuming that they removed some of the posts when they added these gates. But if you look at the end of the hallway, that wall with the door on the left side matches up to exactly what we see in the movie. The camera pans around the halls this way, and we can see that the halls are completely decorated with signs about Louise. She gets to right about here and stops and notices that everybody's dressed just like her. Now, I searched this entire school trying to find Louise's locker, and I wasn't able to find one single locker. It turns out that sometime after the movie was made, all the lockers were removed. When Louise gets a flat tire on her bike and she's looking for a telephone, she ends up here at Madame Serena's house. I'm sure most of you recognize this house from the Michael Jackson Thriller music video. It's been used in lots of other TV shows and movies as well. Now, it no longer has that white picket fence, but right here is where the Madame Serena sign would have been. It's crazy how the house looks just like it did in the movie, and pretty much looks just like it did in the Michael Jackson video as well. And right up there, the front door on the left side is where that neon palm reading sign would have been. When David and Louise are on their way to Kiki's house, we see them drive right by this Greyhound bus station. They continue down 7th Street and then make a left onto Mill, and we get a quick shot of this building right here. And then after she makes David disappear, we get some movie magic. They're now on the other side of Mill near 6th Street. They come around the corner and we see that parking lot across the street. The car swerves over towards this parking lot, back this way, and we get a clear shot of this building. The car then continues down this way before eventually turning in front of this garage door right here. And how do we know that it's this garage door? By that pipe on the left side and the short red pipe on the right side. You can match up the shot exactly. Louise then slowly heads down the street this way, and we get a clear shot of that building, these telephone poles, the fire escape, all of these garage doors. Everything matches up perfect. After Louise learns about her powers, she comes here to this carousel to practice some of the spells that are in the spell book. And right there is where she's sitting going through the spell book. She's leaning up against that carousel car going through all the different spells. We get a shot similar to this one when she uses the spell to make it rain, and she comes out and she's kind of spinning around in the rain out front of the carousel. Some of the fence that surrounds the carousel can be seen in the background behind her. When Louise and Polly are on their way to the Shauna concert, they're riding their bikes over the 6th Street Bridge. Now, the 6th Street Bridge was torn down a few years ago and they're rebuilding it, and this is what it currently looks like today. In the beginning of the most popular girl scene, we see Louise, Brad, and Randa driving in Brad's car, and they come right through this intersection, coming right towards where I'm standing. And you can notice that sewer drain right down there on the left. They head up the street this way past all of these houses, and they pass right by this house. Now, that brick wall in the driveway on the right can be seen, and that small fence right near the sidewalk can also be seen, but you have to pause it because it goes by so quick. We see this tunnel when Brad and Louise are on their way up to the abandoned house. This tunnel's been seen in lots of other movies like Back to the Future and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. We get a shot very similar to this one when Brad and Louise are driving up to the lake. Now, it's hard to say if this is the exact spot, but you can see right here that this is the exact type of fence that we see in the movie. And some of the posts even still have the stripes on them like the ones that we see in the movie. Same exact trees as well. Brad pulls up into a spot just like this and parks his car right in front of the lake. Now, of course, all of these bushes and trees have grown quite a bit and you can't see the lake anymore. Brad and Louise are sitting in a boat right down there surrounded by all of those reeds. Then we get more of a far away shot like this of them sitting in the boat. But again, it's hard to match things up exactly because things around here have changed so much in the last 30 plus years. Definitely the most iconic scene in Teen Witch is Top That. And right behind me is the street where that scene takes place. Polly and Louise round the corner right there, stopping their bikes right around that crosswalk as they watch in front of them, witnessing one of the coolest things they've ever seen. And right there is where it took place, pretty much right where that tree is where that 1973 Chevy Malibu would have been parked, and Rhett and his two buddies performed Top That. Now on a side note, I used to have a 1973 Chevy Malibu just like the one that we see in the movie, and I wish that I still had it so I could bring it here and properly recreate that scene. Now although we don't see a lot of the houses in the background, there are a couple of things here that you can match up. That house on the left, that chimney can clearly be seen in the background behind them, and the house on the right, you can see that picture window. It does look a little bit different, but you can tell it's the same one. When Polly gets off her bike to go join in on the fun, you can see these steps and this wall in the background behind her. She heads down this way and meets up with Rhett right about here, and the rest is history. And of course, once it's all over, Louise is waiting right over here with their bikes. Now she started out over here with the bikes, but she somehow magically made it all the way past them and ended up over here. Teen Witch magic.
No, I'm not in the mood. Oh my God. Just go up and talk to him. Are you kidding? I'm so embarrassed. Look at how funky he is. Go up and talk to him.
Are you kidding? I'd be so embarrassed. Look at how funky he is.
You can dream until you blue, but you will never top that.
You can dream it till you blue, but you will never top that.
I'm king, and they know it. When I step my figures and break this show, I'm hot. And you're not. And riding me out there one shot. Ha ha.
Alright, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.